Hello students, welcome to my channel Learning History Made Easy. In today's video, we will be discussing about the trade and decline of Indus civilization. Before going into the video, if anyone is seeing the channel for the first time or if you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe and share it with your friends, and also click the bell button to receive notifications whenever I upload new videos. So without wasting time, let us get into today's video. So as I have told you, today's video is about the trade and decline of Indus civilization. So first let us see about Indus trade and commerce. The importance of trade in the life of Indus people is supported by granaries found at Mohenjo-daro. So how do we find the importance of trade in the life of Indus civilization? So the importance of trade we find from the granaries that are found at Harappa and Mohenjodaro and Lothal. Okay, from that we understand their importance of trade. It is also supported by the finds of numerous seals, then uniform script and regulated weights and measures which are found in different areas, weights and measures. From all these remains, we find the importance of trade in the life of Indus people, that is from granaries, then from seals, numerous seals, uniform script and regulated weights and measures covering a wide area. They did not use metal money. So during the Indus civilization, metal money was not used and probably carried on all trade through barter system. So metal money was not used. So how did they carry on the trade? Trade was carried through barter system, that is exchanging goods for other goods. In return for finished goods and food grains, they probably procured metals. So mostly barter system must have been in return for food grains. They must have, or in return for food grains, or we can say in return for finished products, they must have got metals. Okay, procured metals from the neighboring areas by boats and bullock carts. So in return for food grains and finished products, they must have procured metals, and these were brought through or with the help of boats and bullock carts. So this was how the trade was carried on during that time, that is barter system was there, and for that they exchanged goods for other goods. Then there was also inter-regional trade. Inter-regional trade was carried on with different places, that is it was carried on with Rajasthan, then Saurashtra, Maharashtra, then parts of western Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, etc. So with all these places, western UP, Bihar, etc. With all these places, inter-regional trade was also carried on. And foreign trade also was done. Foreign trade, other than normal trade, inter-regional trade, there was also foreign trade was conducted. That foreign trade was with Mesopotamia and Iran. Foreign trade was done with them. Their cities also had commercial link with the people of Tigris and Euphrates basin. Now after this, the next point which you are going to see, how or what all evidences we get regarding their trade. Many Harappan seals, many Harappan seals have been discovered in Mesopotamia. So we talked about foreign trade. So what is the evidence? Many Harappan seals have been discovered in Mesopotamia, and it appears that the Harappans imitated some cosmetics used by the urban people of Mesopotamia. Harappan seals, and also Harappans imitated some cosmetics which were used by the urban people of Mesopotamia. Then the Mesopotamian records from about 2350 onwards, if you see many Mesopotamian records, okay, refer to trade relation with Meluha. In Mesopotamian records, there is a reference of trade with Meluha, trade with Meluha, which was an ancient name given to Indus region. This Meluha was actually the ancient name given to Indus region. So all these evidences show that there was foreign trade happening with Mesopotamia. Harappan seals, then they imitated some cosmetics, and in some Mesopotamian records, the word Meluha was there, trade with Meluha, which referred to the Indus region. So all these were the evidences of trade. They also speak of two intermediate trading stations. Now there are two intermediate trading stations. So which are those two intermediate trading stations? Two intermediate trading stations. One is Dilmun, that is identified with Bahrain on the Persian Gulf, Bahrain, that is Dilmun. And one more intermediate trading station is Makan, that is Makan coast. Okay, so these were the two intermediate trading stations. The Harappan cities did not process the necessary raw materials for commodities they produced. So the problem with Harappan cities did not have necessary raw materials, no necessary raw materials. So the Harappan cities did not process the necessary raw materials for the commodities they produce, and hence depended upon the imports from different places. So when they don't have necessary raw materials, they have to depend on imports, and these imports happen from different places. So what were the main imports and what were the main items? So the main imports, okay, the main items which were imported consisted of precious metals like gold from North Karnataka, then silver, probably from Afghanistan or Iran, then copper was another thing which was imported from K3 copper mines, K3 mines in Rajasthan, Baluchistan and Arabia also copper was bought. Then semi-precious stones like lapis lazuli, then turquoise, amethyst, all these, etc. All these were the items which were imported. Okay, so gold from North Karnataka, silver probably from Afghanistan, copper from K3 of Rajasthan, Baluchistan, Arabia, and semi-precious stones like lapis lazuli, turquoise, amethyst, etc. These were the items which were imported. Now, what were the items which were exported from Indus to other places? Okay, the main exports were several agricultural products. Okay, exports were several agricultural products and a variety of finished products. Agricultural products as well as finished products were the main exports, such as cotton goods, beads, pottery, etc. These were the items which were exported. So many items were imported and many items were exported. So this was mainly about the trade done during Indus civilization. Let us go through the points which we have studied. Indus trade and commerce. The importance of trade in the life of the Indus people is supported by granaries found at Harappa, Mohenjodaro and Lothal. It is also supported by the finds of numerous seals, uniform script and regulated weights and measures covering a wide area. They did not use metal money and most probably carried on all trade through barter. In return for finished goods and food grains, they probably procured metals from the neighboring areas by boats and bullock carts. Inter-regional trade was carried on with Rajasthan, Saurashtra, Maharashtra, parts of western Uttar Pradesh and Bihar. Foreign trade was conducted mainly with Mesopotamia and Iran. Their cities also had commercial link with the people of the Tigris and Euphrates basin. Many Harappan seals have been discovered in Mesopotamia, and it appears that the Harappans imitated some cosmetics used by the urban people of Mesopotamia. The Mesopotamian records from about 2350 BC onwards refer to trade relation with Meluha, which was the ancient name given to the Indus region. They also speak of two intermediate trading stations called Dilmun, identified with Bahrain on the Persian Gulf, and Makan, the Makran coast. The Harappan cities did not possess the necessary raw materials for commodities they produced and hence depended upon the imports from distant places. Main imports consisted of precious metals like gold, silver, copper from Khetri copper mine of Rajasthan, Balochistan and Arabia, and semi-precious stones like lapis lazuli, turquoise, amethyst, etc. Main exports were several agricultural products and a variety of finished products as cotton, goods, beads, pottery, etc. So now let us move on to the next topic. The next topic is about weights and measures. So as we have told, for the trading purpose, we have the evidence, we have found many weights and measures. Okay, weights and measures. The knowledge of a script must have helped in recording private property and account keeping. They had a kind of script. We will learn about it in the next topic. Because they had the knowledge of a script, it must have helped them in recording, in recording private property and account keeping. Now, numerous articles were used for weights. For the purpose of weighing, numerous articles were used for the purpose of weights that have been found. And they show that in weighing, mostly 16 or its multiples were used. 16 or its multiples were used mostly in weighing. For example, it was 16, 64, 160, etc. So that was used for weighing. The Harappans also knew the art of measurement. Art of measurement was also known to them. The measures of length were based upon a foot of 13.2 inches and a cubit of 20.6 inches. And several sticks inscribed with measures marked. So for the purpose of measuring, we also find several sticks, and these sticks had measure marks. The sticks will be there, and on different parts, one measures will be marked. So like that, the sticks with measure marks were also found, which must have been used for measuring, and one of these sticks were made of bronze. Bronze measuring stick also have been discovered. So this much was about the weights and measures used during that time. Now the next is about their script and language. Script and language. The Harappans invented the art of writing like the people of ancient Mesopotamia. They had invented art of writing just like the people of Mesopotamia. Although the earliest specimen of Harappan script was discovered in 1853 and complete script by 1923, it is yet to be deciphered. Not yet deciphered. That is the problem of Harappan script. It has not yet been deciphered to the acceptance of all. Many are trying, but still it is not complete. So, unlike the Egyptians and Mesopotamians, the Harappans did not write long inscription. There was no long inscriptions for the Harappans. No long inscriptions. Most of the inscriptions were recorded on seals. So, if you consider the inscriptions, most of them were on seals. And on the seals, it was only a few words. Only a few words. There was no long inscriptions. There was just only a few words. As the script has not yet been deciphered, we cannot judge the Harappan contribution to literature nor say anything about their ideals or beliefs. So that is, as it has not yet been deciphered, we cannot tell anything about their literature or neither about their beliefs or ideas. The Harappan script is not alphabetical. So the speciality of Harappan script, it is not alphabetical. The Harappan script is not alphabetical, but it is mainly pictographic. Okay, pictographic. Since its signs represent, so pictographic means what is happening is its signs represents birds, then fish, variety of human forms, etc. And it was written from right to left. It was written from right to left. So the speciality of Harappan script, it is not alphabetical, it is pictographic. The signs are there of birds, fish, humans, etc. And it is written from right to left. So that is what we can say about the Harappan script. Now, as I have told you, many scholars have been trying to decipher the script. Some scholars try to connect it with Dravidian or Proto-Dravidian language. So there are some scholars who try to connect it with Dravidian or Proto-Dravidian language. Proto-Dravidian language. There are some scholars who try to connect it with Sanskrit. Some scholars try to connect it with Sumerian language. But none of these readings is satisfactory. That is what I have told. Many scholars are trying, but it has not been deciphered to the acceptance of all. So in the absence of any written material or historical events, scholars made various speculations regarding the causes of decline. So if we consider the causes of decline of the Harappan civilization, the absence of script is a big issue. Not absence of script, absence of any written material which has been deciphered. That makes it difficult to know the cause for decline. Now by the 19th century, if we see the 19th century BC, two important the cities that is of Harappan culture, that is Harappa and Mohenjodaro disappeared. But the Harappan culture, two cities, main cities disappeared, but the Harappan culture in other sites faded out gradually. Okay, the culture in other sites, the culture or the Harappan culture in other sites, it faded gradually. It was a slow process, it faded gradually and continued its degenerate form in the outlying fringes of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Haryana and Western UP until 1500 BC. It was continuing in that degenerate form. Now many reasons have been said for the decline of the Harappan or Indus culture. So mainly we can see environmental factors. So environmental factors may have been important for cultural collapse. Okay, so this cultural collapse must have happened mainly because of environmental factors. So let us see which were the factors. If we see the Harappan zone, both river Yamuna and Sutlej moved away from Saraswati. Okay, from the Saraswati. So this means that there was a lot of loss in water supply. Okay, loss in water supply. So once more I will say, in Harappan zone, both Yamuna and Sutlej moved away from the Saraswati, and this meant a lot of loss in water supply. So that may have been one cause. Second is rainfall decreased. Rainfall decreased at about that time. So about that time, rainfall decreased. So these factors also must have worked adversely. So there are many environmental factors for the cultural collapse. So loss in water supply may have been one. Rainfall decreased, that may have been an adverse factor. It appears that craft and commerce collapsed. So again one more thing was craft and commerce collapsed. Why it collapsed? Because of the sudden end of the long distance land and sea trade with Mesopotamia. This collapsed because of the end of land and sea trade with Mesopotamia. So they had foreign trade with Mesopotamia. So suddenly this land and sea trade ended. That also must have been a factor, an adverse factor. Now according to Raikes, he is a hydrologist. According to him, he has set forth the theory that due to tectonic activity, the floodplains of lower Indus river was raised. Okay, that is, the floodplains of lower Indus was raised, and this led to prolonged submergence of cities like Mohenjodaro and Chanhudaro. Okay, so when floodplains are raised, what will happen? Cities will be submerged. Okay, submerged cities, especially Mohenjo-daro and Chanhudaro. When cities are submerged, people abandoned the cities. So this also must have been one cause. Raikes, he was a hydrologist. According to him, he said that due to tectonic activities, the floodplains of the lower Indus river was raised, and this led to prolonged submergence of cities like Mohenjo-daro and Chanhudaro, and hence these cities were abandoned. So that also must have been a cause for decline. Now another person, A Fairservis, he has tried to explain the decay of Harappan civilization in terms of problems of ecology. Problems of ecology. According to him, problems of ecology must have been a cause for the decline of Indus civilization. That is, growing population of man and animals along with falling resources. That means when population is growing and resources are falling, that has an adverse effect. Resources should also grow according to the population, otherwise it becomes an issue. So the growing population of man and animals, confronted by falling resources, wore out the landscape, which resulted into more floods and droughts, and later led to more floods and droughts. So this also was another cause. These stresses, all these ecological factor, environmental factor, all factors together in the end led to the collapse of the urban culture. So these were the causes which we can assume which led to the decline of the Indus civilization. All these led to the decline of the civilization. Then there was also many other scholars like John Marshall. Suggest that the decline of civilization was mainly due to the vagaries of river Indus. Okay, it was due to the vagaries of river Indus. That was the thought of Sir John Marshall. Then thus there are several important causes for the decline of Indus civilization, and there is enough evidence to show that Harappan civilization, we can finally conclude that Harappan civilization did not come to a sudden dead end. Okay, sudden dead end. It was a gradual process. It did not come to a sudden dead end. Instead, it seemed to have faded away gradually. The civilization faded away gradually because of multiple reasons. So this is how we can conclude this point. So now let us go through the points which we have studied till now. Weights and measures. The knowledge of a script must have helped in recording private property and account keeping. Numerous articles used for weights have been found. They show that in weighing mostly 16 or its multiples were used, for instance 16, 64, 160, 320 and 640. The Harappans also knew the art of measurement. Measures of length were based upon a foot of 13.2 inches and a cubit of 20.6 inches. Several sticks inscribed with measure marks have been discovered, and one of them is made of bronze. Script and language. The Harappans invented the art of writing like the people of ancient Mesopotamia. Although the earliest specimen of Harappan script was discovered in 1853 and the complete script in 1923, it has yet to be deciphered. Unlike the Egyptians and Mesopotamians, the Harappans did not write long inscriptions. Most of the inscriptions were recorded on seals and contain only a few words. As the script has not yet been deciphered, we cannot judge the Harappan contribution to literature nor say anything about their ideas and beliefs. The Harappan script is not alphabetical but mainly pictographic, since its signs represent birds, fish, variety of human form, etc., and it was written from right to left like modern Urdu. Some scholars try to connect it with the Dravidian or the Proto-Dravidian language, others with Sanskrit, and yet others with Sumerian language, but none of these readings is satisfactory. In the absence of any written material or historical evidence, scholars have made various speculations regarding the causes for the decline of Harappan culture. By the 19th century BC, the two important cities of Harappan culture, Harappa and Mohenjodaro, disappeared, but the Harappan culture at other sites faded out gradually and continued in its degenerate form in the outlying fringes of Gujarat, Rajasthan, Haryana, and western UP until 1500 BC. The environmental factors may have been important for the cultural collapse. In the Harappan zone, both Yamuna and Sutlej moved away from the Saraswati, which meant loss in the water supply. Similarly, rainfall decreased at about that time. These factors may have worked adversely. It appears that craft and commerce collapsed because of the sudden end of the long-distance land and sea trade with Mesopotamia. R. Raikes-hydrologist has set forth a theory that due to the tectonic activity, the floodplains of the lower Indus River was raised, which led to prolonged submergence of cities like Mohenjo-daro and Chanhudaro, and hence they were abandoned. A Fairservis had tried to explain the decay of the Harappan civilization in terms of the problems of ecology. The growing population of man and animals, confronted by falling resources, bore out the landscape, which resulted into more floods and droughts. These stresses in the end led to the collapse of the urban culture. Many other scholars like John Marshall suggest that the decline of Harappan civilization was mainly due to the vagaries of the Indus River. Thus, there are several important causes for the decline of Indus civilization. There is enough evidence to show that Harappan civilization did not come to a sudden dead end. Instead, it seems to have faded away gradually. So these were the main points regarding Indus civilization. So I hope you have understood all these points very clearly. If you have any doubt, feel free to ask in the comment section. And also, don't forget to like, share and subscribe to my channel. Even now, almost 70% of those who are seeing my channel have not subscribed. So please do consider subscribing. Your likes and shares will be of a great encouragement for me to make more and more videos. So I hope to see you all soon in the coming video. Thank you for watching.